VenomFangX. You told everyone that you can prove that God is real. I saw the video. I have to disagree. Let me explain why. I'm going to now transcript what you said in this video. Well, when I say transcript, I mean the spoken version of transcription. If I showed you a written down version, it probably wouldn't show up too well on this camera, but here we go. VenomFangX says, and I quote, "Okay, I'm going to start with just asking you a basic question. If I promised to give you a chocolate bar after an infinite amount of time, would I ever give you the chocolate bar?" No, I don't think I would, because when would we be able to say, okay, an infinite amount of time has passed, pay up the chocolate bar? Wouldn't happen. So my next question would be, could there have been an infinite amount of time before right now? No, there couldn't have been, because we never would have reached this moment in time. So we can conclude that time started a finite amount of time ago. He then goes on to say that we can deduce that matter and space, obviously having a relation with time, must also be finitely old. VenomFangX then describes the characteristics, and I will now quote again. "It's awesomely powerful, incredibly intelligent, and suddenly the picture starts to..." You know what I'm saying? Now these obviously come from this designer's ability to create an entire universe, so obviously it has to be powerful, and being as complex as everyone says it is, has to be intelligent as well. He signs off by saying that there's nowhere to go and that he's got us cornered. Well, Sean, that's not true. But I must say, good try with this. And in terms of Christian arguments trying to prove the existence of God, this is quite high up there. I wouldn't even insult this to say it was, as good as Dendrophilian's argument or something like that. It is genuinely a good try. But let me just point out some, tiny problems that this thing has. Okay, first of all, the chocolate bar statement is completely irrelevant, and I'll explain why. You see, you said that if I promised to give you the chocolate bar after an infinite amount of time, would I ever give you that chocolate bar? Well, here's the thing. An infinite amount of time never ends. So you cannot have an after. It has to always be within an infinite amount of time. It can't ever be after, because there is no after, because it never ends. It's like saying infinity plus 1 is higher than infinity. It's not. It's still infinity. I mean, this one requires some mathematical knowledge of infinity. So, just a couple of things. If you add anything to infinity, it's still infinity. If you multiply anything by infinity, it's still infinity. Basically, any operation in which you include infinity and a finite number, infinity comes out tops all the time. The answer will always be infinity. Even when infinity gets involved twice. Even if it's infinity divided by infinity, the answer is still infinity. That's how infinity works. It's not even a number, it's an expression. So when you say, could we have reached this point in time, that if time was infinite, that the answer is no, well, that's not true. Logically it is true, but before isn't the word you use. We could have reached this point, if time was eternal, within an infinite amount of time. Definitely not before. An interesting thing to note about this is also that an infinite amount of time can start if it never finishes, and also it can end if it never started. And if it could also exist without ever starting or finishing. It's such a complicated thing, infinity. But that could have been very confusing to pretty much anyone, so let me explain how it works with time. if it is infinite, then it never ends and it never started. Because how could it? Now in addition, let me prove to you that time is infinite. Now, it takes time to perform any action. We all know about cause and effect. Well, if there is no time, how could you perform an action? You can't. So you can't possibly start time, however it started, if there's no time already. So it must have always been around. And, well, maybe you can end time, but that would bring about the destruction of everything. We would all just suddenly die at some point. Or, well, we wouldn't technically die, but we may as well, because everything stops. So yeah, that's why time must be infinite. And that's why this argument doesn't quite work. But it was a good try, Sean. I enjoy your videos, even if no one else does. I know you're one of these people who tends to get the firewall quite a lot, but really, you know, you're necessary here on YouTube, so keep making these kind of videos, because it's stuff people need to hear. And it's also good material for us. And I hope what I said wasn't offensive in any way. I certainly don't intend to be. And unlike other atheists, I don't hate people here on YouTube, so please don't interpret this as hate. Thank you.